What if the monsters in your nightmares and the lost cities of legend were real? For centuries, we've separated history from myth, dismissing tales like the Trojan War or sea monsters as pure fiction. Mainstream historians called these legends primitive folklore. Just stories. Right. But recent discoveries are forcing us to rethink everything. Archaeologists, using cutting-edge technology, are unearthing evidence that blurs the line between myth and reality. Behind many legends lies a kernel of truth, often more spectacular than the story itself. The ancient world was far stranger than we ever imagined. So get ready to question what you thought you knew. Today, we're diving into a world where myths are the history we forgot. We'll peel back the layers of legend to reveal the shocking reality underneath. Here are 8 ancient legends that science proved were real. Grab your gear. This is going to be one wild expedition. Deep in the jungles of Mexico lies the heart of the Aztec Empire. Spanish conquistadors described Aztec warriors unleashing a sound so horrifying it paralyzed enemies. The scream of 1,000 corpses. For years, strange clay skulls found in ruins were thought to be toys. But when blown, they produced a blood-curdling, human-like scream. Imagine hundreds of these screams before battle, a wall of sound to break enemy spirits. The scream of 1,000 corpses was real. An ancient weapon of fear. Next, we travel to Indonesia's island of Flores, home to the legend of the Ebu Gogo, tiny hairy people who lived in caves and stole food from villagers. Western scholars dismiss these stories as folklore, lumping them in with gnomes and leprechauns. But in 2003, researchers excavating Liang Bua cave found a tiny skeleton, an adult female, just over 3 feet tall. More bones followed, revealing a new species, Homo floresiensis, or the Hobbits. These weren't diseased humans, but a separate branch of our family tree. Even more astonishing, they lived alongside modern humans until about 50,000 years ago. The legend of the Ebu Gogo wasn't a myth, it was a memory of real-life hobbits. The islanders' stories preserved the truth for thousands of years. Sometimes folklore is just eyewitness history in disguise. The world is full of lost relatives and lost truths. The Hobbits of Flores prove it. What other legends are waiting to be unearthed? Sodom and Gomorrah, 2 legendary cities said to be destroyed by fire from the sky. At Tal el Hammam in Jordan, archaeologists found a thriving Bronze Age city suddenly obliterated around 1650 BC. The destruction layer revealed flash-melted pottery and crystals, heated hotter than a volcano. Scientists concluded a meteor airburst, like Tunguska, but closer, destroyed the city. The fire and brimstone was a real cosmic disaster. Sometimes the sky really does fall. Let's talk about the Amazons, fierce warrior women of Greek legend. For centuries, scholars called them a male fantasy, a myth to explore gender anxieties, but Greek stories placed them in Scythia, the grasslands of Central Asia. In the 1990s, archaeologists excavated Scythian burial mounds and found women buried with weapons, swords, shields, and arrows. Their bones bore battle scars and signs of a life on horseback. These weren't ceremonial burials, these were real warriors. The Amazons weren't just a Greek fantasy, they were a reality on the steppe. The myth was rooted in fact, women who fought, bled, and led armies. Sometimes history is even more radical than legend. The Amazons rode into battle, and into the pages of history. The truth was buried, but never lost. Our next legend, Heracleion, the lost Egyptian city at the mouth of the Nile. Ancient texts described a bustling port of temples and wealth, but for centuries no trace was found. Most scholars wrote it off as a fable until 2000, when underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudio discovered massive ruins off Alexandria's coast. Divers uncovered colossal statues, sunken ships, and gold coins, an entire city preserved beneath the waves. Inscriptions confirmed it. This was Thonis Heracleion. The city had sunk after an earthquake in the 8th century AD, lost for over 1,000 years. What was once myth became undeniable fact. Heracleion's rediscovery proved that legends can be maps to real places. Sometimes the sea hides history's greatest secrets, and sometimes we find them, one dive at a time. The lost city was real, waiting for us to believe. Now, to China and the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor. Ancient historian Sima Qian described an underground palace with rivers of flowing mercury. For centuries, this was dismissed as poetic exaggeration. The tomb remained sealed, but in the 1980s, scientists tested the soil above it. They found mercury levels over 100 times higher than normal, matching the layout of China's great rivers. The emperor's toxic underworld was real. The legend was true, and too dangerous to open even today. Sometimes ancient texts are blueprints, not just stories. The past is full of secrets, some best left undisturbed. Qin Shi Huang's tomb is one of them. From land to sea, the legend of the Kraken. Norse sagas spoke of a tentacled monster big enough to drag ships under. For centuries, science laughed it off as a sailor's tale, but strange remains, giant tentacles, beaks, kept washing ashore. In the 1850s, a massive squid specimen surfaced in Denmark. Today we know the Kraken was inspired by the real giant squid, and its even larger cousin, the colossal squid. With eyes the size of dinner plates and tentacles as long as a bus, these creatures are monsters of the deep. Sperm whales bear scars from epic battles with them. For ancient sailors, seeing one was a death sentence. The Kraken wasn't just a myth, it was a warning. The ocean's monsters are real, and they're still out there. Our final legend, Troy, immortalized by Homer's Iliad. For centuries, Troy was dismissed as pure fiction, but in the 1870s, Heinrich Schliemann followed Homer's clues to Hisarlik, Turkey, and found the ruins of a real city. Archaeologists uncovered layers of cities, with one, Troy the Sevenda, showing evidence of fire, ash, and war from the late Bronze Age. The walls were real, the destruction was real, and the war likely was too. The wooden horse may be poetic, but the blood and tragedy were not. Homer wasn't just telling a story, he was preserving a memory. Sometimes, epic poetry is eyewitness history. The city of Troy stood, fell, and was found again. Legends endure because they're built on truth, and sometimes, the truth is epic. From screaming whistles to sunken cities, the evidence is clear. Myths often hide real history. These stories are echoes of our ancestors, waiting for us to listen. Every dig, every discovery, reveals a seed of truth behind the legend. The world is older, stranger, and more mysterious than we imagine. Now it's your turn. Share your local legend in the comments. It might be the next great discovery. If this made you trust ancient stories a little more, like and subscribe. Sometimes, the truth is stranger than fiction. Thanks for joining the expedition. See you next time.